Well, winning cat counts as a person. We are watching the speech.
Katie Young stated that while there are many purposes that can be served by assessments, they are all secondary to the improvement of student learning. Unfortunately, this is not the ideology that is being followed. Standardized testing has caused more problems than it has solved, and a new measure of academic success must be implemented. There is a past and current history of standardized testing, the effects of standardized testing, and possible solutions to the problems that standardized testing has caused. In 2200 BC, China used the first standardized test to help choose civil servants. In 1916, the IQ test was developed by Alfred Binet. In 1965, the Elementary and Secondary Education Act passed, which stated that schools receiving federal funding must prove that they are meeting educational goals. In 2002, President Bush reauthorized the ESEA, which was the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, but renamed it the No Child Left Behind Act. It stated that all public schools must have highly qualified teachers and all students must be proficient in math and reading. It also stated that schools must have an AYP, which is an adequate yearly progress, which they strive to meet each year. If they do not meet their AYP, there will be consequences, which I'll cover here in just a little bit. The next topic are the effects of standardized testing, more specifically, the effects on students. Standardized testing causes emotional strain because students use the scores as a measure of self-worth, achievement, capability, and scholastic progress. These tests also cause less drive, since high-stakes tests discourage and demoralize students, causing the dropout rate to increase. These tests also cause unpreparedness, since students oftentimes only learn what they need to know for the tests. As a student transfers to another school in a different state, the student may be lacking a certain general knowledge. There are also the effects on teachers. Oftentimes, teachers are forced to teach to the test, which narrows curriculum and forces memorization of isolated facts instead of developing fundamental and higher order abilities. Teachers are also wasting time on strategies that don't work. The U.S. Department of Education Institute of Education Sciences evaluated the No Child Left Behind instituted Reading First program. They found that though classrooms spent more focused time on components of reading, there was no significant increase in reading or in comprehension test scores in the first through third grades. Teachers spent hours in the classroom focusing on strategies that weren't working. There are also the effects on schools. If schools do not meet their AYP, then they are labeled as failing and lose federal funding. If a school is failing for 2 years, school officials must develop a 2-year turnaround plan. If the school is failing for 3 years, a student must either be allowed to transfer to another school or the current school must offer the student a tutor. If the school is failing for 4 years, school officials can be fired or a new curriculum must be implemented. If a school is failing for 5 years, restructuring must occur. All or some school officials can be fired. The school can be turned over to a state or private company with a history of effectiveness, or school can be reopened as a charter school. There must be an action taken to solve these current problems. It would be ridiculous to say that there is no place for tests, as they serve as a good form of student evaluation. However, standardized tests have not served this task well and improvements need to be made. Some small improvements have already been made, such as the ACT being accepted everywhere, rather than the SAT. The SAT doesn't test students on material learned in high school, but rather tests students on their innate ability and how good of a test taker they are. This includes dealing with time pressure, tricky questions, and ambiguous phrasing. According to USA Today, 730 institutions have made the SAT and the ACT optional for at least some students. Kansas State University is one such university that has made the SAT and ACT optional for at least in-state applicants, though it is still required for out-of-state applicants. There are some improvements that can still be made, such as grading a portfolio of a student's work rather than basing their grade off one test. You could also incorporate more essays into the standardized tests, which would allow for more of a gray area in a pure black and white test-taking environment. Also, restructuring the No Child Left Behind program so that failing schools would still receive help. This would include not losing federal funding aid, as well as the help of outside sources to help implement a more effective curriculum plan. In conclusion, though standardized tests have existed in the past and measures are being taken to help correct the problems, the fact remains that standardized testing has done more harm than good, and a new measure of academic success must be implemented. Thank you.